All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to do a quick sound check really quickly to make sure that everything is going smooth. Dani is in the building. I am so excited. I'm going to do a quick sound check on my external thing here. All right, let's go ahead. Let's add Dani into the stream. Hello, Dani.
Hey.
All right, I can hear you.
So
you can hear me.
Get set up, girl. Huh?
So you can hear me. I can hear you.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I'm over here trying to still get set up. We're live.
We are live, y'all. Live with Dani Styles. Hello, Dani. How are you doing today? I know it's a lot. What is going on?
Girl, I'm over here still trying to get set up, but I'm just happy to be here, sitting here talking to you because I feel like I haven't actually seen your face
in a long time. Carnival.
In forever.
2019?
Yeah, like 2019. That was the last time we laid eyes on each other in person. So we are long overdue.
Yes. Are you going this year?
Long overdue. Yes, I am. Yes. I'm super excited.
That's what we're here for.
Yes. So that's why I was like, when you were like, let's talk about Carnival, I was like, yes, let's talk about Carnival.
The questions have been rolling in. The people have so many questions, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. So everyone, welcome to Reginebridgesthegap Gap Live on Fridays. My name is Regine, and the necklace I'm wearing right now is by my friend Negesti. It is a beautiful, just a rose, not a rose quartz. It's not like a crystal, but it's basically like a resin with a rose inside. Her link will be in the bio, and you can buy or check out more of the jewelry, the handmade jewelry that she makes.
That's what's up. It's really pretty. How low does that go?
It goes literally right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it stops like between the breasts. This is
okay.
So yeah, everyone. I try my best to go live every Friday. Each Friday will be a new guest. We are coming up to our 1-year anniversary of Regine Bridges the Gap. Yes. So I will be having everyone. Thank you. I will be having everyone who has been on this live back. Just come on back. It's gonna be one big old talk, one big old chat back. It's gonna be super fun. And next week we will have Bishop from Sao Paulo. But today we are talking with Dani Styles. Everyone, please lay your eyes on Dani Styles. Tell us who you are, where you're from, who you be with, what you be doing. Go right ahead.
All right, well, my name I'm Dani. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. It's where I also reside. And as Regine knows, I'm back and forth between Atlanta and Rio de Janeiro because dancing in Carnival is something that I am super passionate about. And I have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Dani Styles, which you can see on the screen. And I typically just post videos of my time in Rio de Janeiro, just doing different things. But I'm looking forward to this next trip because I will be able to share way more with you guys. I'll be down there for a lot longer. So I'm super excited to be sitting here talking to my girl because she's actually somebody that I go to ask questions about Carnival, but I'm happy to share what I know. So this is great. Uh-oh, I lost your sound.
That's because I muted myself. I try to do the Zoom thing. If somebody's talking, mute yourself. Yeah. So that's just me though. And I have to remember this is StreamYard. This is not Zoom. So I'm like, this is not a Zoom class. Because how some people be having all those conversations in the background while somebody's
Oh my
talking.
God, it's so
And it's
annoying.
like,
It's so
what are you
annoying.
doing? Like,
Like
you're
girl, look, I'm over here still trying to set up, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm one of those people, like, that's got their face all in the camera. Like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Girl, back up. Yes, we can hear you. Sit down.
I'm weak. I'm weak. But it's funny. I think, how did we meet? We met was it
We
Black
met
Expat?
because, yeah, I was in a group chat with you, and like, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 of y'all were talking about going to the technical and SciUs, and I was there by myself in an apartment by myself, and I was like, I'm starving. I'm gonna go get this food, and then I'm gonna take a chance and go to some Bodromo, and hopefully I find these people, and hopefully they're cool.
Oh my
And that's
goodness.
literally
Wow.
how it happened.
So
Yeah,
was that your
like
first carnival?
no, that was my second.
Okay.
But even then, like, you remember I told you, like, everything for my first carnival happened super last minute. So it was all like a matter of, hey girl, I want a parade. And it was kind of like, okay, well, these are the options you have. And then, I just kind of jumped into it. But 2019 was a very intentional carnival. Everything was mapped out, like I knew exactly what was going to happen. And so, but I knew I was going to be down there by myself for a little while. And I was like, I don't want to spend every night by myself. Let me see if I can go meet some people. I talk to these people in this group chat, every so often. Please, God, let them be okay and not be bad people and beat me up into some bullshit or something.
Not beat you up in this unbothered. Oh my goodness. So, Dani, you are a Musa. Yes. What is a Musa? Like, what somebody would be like, well, what is that? What's the difference between that and a hyena and a princesa and I don't know, harmonia, which is big,
but and harmonia, yeah. So Musa, the English translation for that is muse, and it's historically just that. It's a woman who is, I guess, she inspires the composers. That was kind of how it, I think, initially started. But now Musa is really just a physical representation of the sensuality and beauty that is Carnival. So you have all of these people in great party mode, but there's also the Musas who are there to remind you of all that is beautiful in Carnival. And so so when you see these big groups of people all dressed in the same costume, sometimes you'll see a woman in maybe a sexy version of that costume in front of them, and that is the muse. And she is basically like a featured solo dancer, or just solo model in some cases. So that is really what a Musa is. The difference between that and a hyena, which means queen, is that the queen is kind of held in a high regard basically across the board. She is basically the face of the school as far as, beauty and sensuality and talent and all of that stuff goes, popularity. She is the face of the school, whereas the Musas are kind of like, I hate to say like her background, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of the background to that. You're a lesser version of that, if you will. And then the Pasistas, which our girl Regine, she's one of those. They are the pro dancers. They come through and show you how it's really done. The Musas and the hyenas, we look cute and we do our little dance, our little shuffle step. But if you want the show, you go look at the Pasistas. That's who you go look at.
She's not lying. The Pasistas be throwing down, and
they show you how it's done, and it's like I used to get so excited. I have a video, it's on YouTube, and you can see it, where you hear me go, "Oh my God, the Pasistas! Look!" You can hear me say it. It's like I was like waiting for them to come down so I could see who I knew and how they were dancing, and I just couldn't wait to see them because they really are amazing. Yeah. So Musa is muse. Yeah.
Yes. So now another question that I have for you is, how do you we're just going to go ahead and go straight to the Avenida. Let's just go.
Let's do it.
What is a typical day of a Musa, the day of the parade? Let's say, what does that look like? or what does the week look like? Because yeah, let's be real. What is the week before leading up to that day?
Leading up to it, girl, that week is some ish, okay? Because you have media that you have to do a lot of times for your school. So again, being Musa, you're expected in a lot of cases to actually do press. And yeah, so that week leading up to it, they're introducing the Musas, and you're doing like video shoots and photo shoots like every other day. You are at rehearsals, and some people don't realize that rehearsal is not show up in your sweatpants and like go through your little dance moves. It is full glam, full heels, sequin, rhinestones, bronzer, and highlight. Like you are extra hair. Like it is a lot at NSYU, you know. And so because technically NSYU, which means rehearsal, is basically a media opportunity. So people are there with their cameras and they're posting stuff on social media, and the last thing you want to be is the girl that ain't got her stuff together, because nobody's gonna get video of you and they're gonna be looking at you like, girl, where you come from and why you don't know.
Right.
So it's that week leading up to it includes a lot of working out. You go just a little bit harder on your diet.
Starvation.
I ain't starving for nobody. Let's be very clear. I'm not starving for nobody. Okay?
Man, listen, when I was in one of these samba schools that will not be mentioned, they had us running a track.
Yeah.
They had us talking about we can't drink. That
was drinking. A thing as well. That was a thing as well. My trainer, more than the school, I have a trainer in Rio. And that was her thing. No alcohol, no rice, no beans.
Yeah, we was
no French fries, no beer.
Yo, and the thing is,
stuff in Rio, none of
and
that.
you know what, Dani? The thing is, this specific school that I was with, people would report back if you was drinking.
Oh yeah, somebody saw me having a beer, and really I wasn't having a beer. I was sipping Edric's beer, sipping someone else's, and it was like, you had a drink, and it was like, it was just wine, you know. So I feel you. That's the thing. Like you're in that home stretch, and so you really do have to go hard, because like the camera does. They say it adds 10, 20 pounds, but really it just shows all of your flaws. That's really what it is. It just shows your flaws, and you kind of have to just be prepared for the fact that, like, if I'm not ready on that day, they gonna get whatever's coming down the Avenida, and you want to make sure.
You said they gonna get whatever. Ooh.
Listen, I'm not saying that about me. I'm just saying the camera's gonna pick up whatever's going down the Avenida.
Right.
Because I listen. I was working hard. I'm working hard now. You know what I mean? So I'm having my Friday night drink, but
I have no drinks because I did Miami Carnival, and I was like, yeah, I need a break this week. Your girl's getting old. It was unlimited drinks that came with the marching with the playing with the band. So I definitely did Henny, every type of Henny you could think of. And yeah, so this week it's no drinks for me. It's okay.
No drinks for you. I feel you. That makes sense. But but I'm like, just one here and there. It's not gonna kill you. I can't do anything like really sugary, carbs or like.
Yeah, no, like one drink tonight, like a drink in the house is fine. But what I did was like some Bloco Rio like type of nonsense. It was just the most like.
But I mean, that sounds like it's fun, because like I've done the community parades out in Madureira.
Yeah. Oh, so now fun. Talk about that, because a lot of people really don't know about that. Well, people in Rio know, obviously. But like people that visit, they don't know about that parade at all.
They have no idea that there is a whole other party happening in Rio that they don't know nothing about, that nobody invited them to. And they're like, oh, I went to Carnival, but did you go to Carnival though? Like, but did you? Because if you don't go out to Madureira, you really don't get to see like the literal roots of how the big parades, the big show in Sapucaí comes to be. You don't
Yep.
really know. And so having done those, which to me are so much more fun because the pressure is off. Don't get me wrong, it's still a competition, just like the Sambódromo, just like Sapucaí,
Uh-huh.
the Group A, but it's just a little less pressure. You want to look good, but it's not like the end of the world. You know what I mean? If a feather falls off here or there in the middle of you dancing, it's not like this big thing. You know what I mean? Like you just keep going.
Yeah. And that's
And
another thing. Y'all, that's another thing. Costumes falling apart on the Avenida is a big deal. Like you lose points for someone missing a shoe, someone missing something. I remember there was a school again that will not be named. I'm sure you know of this school because the
where the
story is
Bayanas
really
didn't have no
short.
skirts.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. As we mentioned, I don't know. I guess maybe you've talked to your viewers about Carnival being a competition.
Yeah.
But like when I didn't know this until a few years before I paraded. I didn't know it was a competition because they don't show. It's not like the Olympics where as soon as the parade is over, people are holding up scores. You know what I mean? It's not like that. You don't know the scores until the end of the week. You know what I mean? So I didn't even know it was a competition until a few years before I actually went down for Carnival. And so it's still a competition in the community in Madureira, but it's just not as rigorous and
stressful.
A lot of people are drinking in the parade. Girl, when I tell you my first time doing it, we were lit.
But I think Abre Alas, they be drinking. I saw people in the Avenida that's clearly not from Brazil drinking.
And they're drunk. Yeah, they're like really like having like, because I mean you can buy them while you're in the lineup, but like I'm like, that's not something I'm trying to do, especially when you got an extra 15 pounds on your back. And like it's just, the feathers get heavy, y'all. Like it's one of those things where like I love it, but you got to be prepared, not just for like how you want to look, but also you got to be strong.
Yeah,
because those shoes can be heavy once they start adding all those rhinestones to them, and the backpack with all the feathers is heavy. And then don't let them also put feathers on top of your head. That's a whole nother gang. Like that's like a whole nother thing. So like I in 2019 told the dude, the guy who made my costume, I don't want no feathers on my head.
Oh my goodness.
He was like, but the costume, I know what the costume is supposed to look like, but I don't want no feathers on my head because it just it limits your movement as it is. Like you never see girls with a bunch of feathers on their head do anything like that. And I'm the type of samba dancer that plays with her hair.
Yeah,
this is me,
right?
like whenever I can, but you can't do that when you got 100, 200 feathers on your head. So
in 2019, so it was 2019 that you said you didn't want feathers.
I didn't. I had feathers. I just didn't have any on my head. So
and 2020 is. Oh, you didn't do 2020.
I didn't do 2020. Like it just, the timing didn't work out for me with work, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because a bunch of folks got the vid. So I was like, let me thank my stars that I didn't go down there because
it was not even just that, it poured. I'm talking about Hurricane Ida poured. Like it poured. 2020.
2019 though, it rained all day the day before, and I got on Facebook and was like, look, fam, friends, I need all my prayer warriors to get out here, get on your knees and pray that it does not rain. And when I tell you the rain came right after we finished our parade, like literally it was like we were crossing the finish. I was crossing the finish line when the rain, like I started feeling the drizzle, and it was like, oh my goodness. Like, so yes, exactly. Your feathers feel heavier when they're wet. So I knew that was going to be a mess. And I was like, I do not want this drama because I already had like, I think 400, 500 feathers on my back or something like that. I can't remember how many feathers I bought, but.
So she asked, I believe this is Keisha. Hey, Keisha. So she said, "Oh wow, so the feathers are heavier than how we do frontline in Trinidad." Um, I'm familiar with that, but Danny, I'm not sure if you are.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen pictures. I haven't done it, but I've seen pictures, and I think it's not that the feathers are heavier; it's typically just more feathers.
yes, that I was just about to say that because I was like, you can tell which one is like a Caribbean backpack compared to like one that's from Brazil. The
Mm-hmm.
one from Brazil is like a float itself. Like
It's its own thing. It's its own costume in itself. You know what I mean?
and
And like,
and the thing is, I feel like with frontline with Caribbean backpacks, they're not built to sit on your shoulders comfortably. The ones in Brazil sit on your shoulders comfortably because they know they packing on those damn feathers.
yeah,
So
and
they
that's
put
kind of
shoulder
what
pads and everything and
yes,
they build it so that it's not tearing at your skin and it's
yes.
not weighing down on your back like frontline is because frontline is not built for your shoulders. Like
So
I'm
like
sorry.
I've seen costumes in Brazil where they were like digging into the girl's skin, and I was like, "Who made your costume?" And it was
Who
like a
exact and
Brazilian
that's
atelier
bad.
that made it.
Exactly.
But I remember
Yeah.
telling like the guy that makes my costumes, and I hope he's gonna make mine this year. He said he wants to. Hopefully, we can work that out because everything you gotta do is business,
Yeah.
And I told him I needed to be comfortable and I need the construction to be like top notch. I'm not concerned with having the most avant garde, you know, out of the box costume for the parade. I need it to be constructed well and I need to not like be bleeding when it's over. And
Right.
he, like, when I tell you that the padding is like this thick on mine, like it sits up almost like an inch and a half off my shoulders.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's good. That's
his
honestly
padding
how a
doesn't hurt
pastista's
at all.
costume. A pastista's costume is normally like that too, because we're jumping around and we're like, doing all these other stuff along with the headpiece. No, the headpiece is always a disaster.
Y'all
I hate to say
always
it.
have crazy headpieces during the parades though. So like there are these beautiful y'all have these beautiful, feather headpieces when we go to the Quadra and you guys do your Pasista show and everything looks good. And then the parade comes around and they have a whole giraffe sitting on y'all head that is like what is going on?
They do. They do. But our last costume, the one I did last year, Jenga, that was my favorite costume,
Really?
period. They used Ryan on grass and it was
I saw
grass.
that one.
It wasn't feathers. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw
Whoever
there
did
was a
that,
Musa.
huh?
My first carnival, she had grass on her costume, and it was really dope because nobody else had that. So it's
It
that's
was I thought it was fur. That's how beautiful it was, but then it wasn't. It was grass. I was like, oh, I was like, it's grass. Like, but it looks so nice. And I don't know. I feel like we never win. But I was like, nah, we should have won. But you know why we didn't win?
it's all
Because
politics.
it is. And on top of that, there was a school that went down from Grupo Especial that had to come back up. So they sacrificed us. So you already know the story. Like
I do.
it is what it is.
I do.
Uh Keisha has another question. She says, how do you get paired with a costume maker? Are you paying out of pocket? And we're gonna get to start asking the questions because you have a lot of questions.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
this is
So I my first carnival, I really didn't know any ateliers in Rio, and there are quite a few people who make carnival costumes independently. There's some that work with a school specifically. That's all they do is make pasista costumes and Musa and Porta Bandera and all of they make those costumes. But there are also independent ateliers that work with Musas and celebrities and things like that. So I didn't know anybody, and my first costume was made for me. My first Musa costume, it was already made when I got there. Like I said, everything happened last minute. My first carnival when I was Musa. The 2019 was the one where I literally was like shopping around, talking to people. like, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I need. What price can you give me? Okay, well, my homegirl's gonna be a Musa too. If you make both of our costumes, how much would that be? Oh, if I bring a third girl, can it go down even cheaper? So like really like negotiating,
Ah,
trying to get all of our costumes made, for the best possible price. Okay, well, if I buy my own shoes, will that take it down some? Or if I buy my own feathers? So ultimately,
makes sense.
I ended up negotiating with someone, and everybody that when I said this person's making my costume, they would go, "Oh, he's the best," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I feel like I got over. So
That's
I had to buy
good.
my own feathers, and I had to buy my own shoes. And that's fine, but he embellished my shoes for me and made them match my costume, because initially we thought the costume was going to be gold, and then it turned the Carnival Let's Go got in contact with him, and then it ended up having to be silver. And so he turned the gold shoes into, like, they look silver because they have the those iridescent AB rhinestones on them. So it just kind of, it worked out. But like, that was a whole process that had a lot of people in their feelings. And it's like, I'm not trying to like offend all of these ateliers. It's just, I'm not a famous celebrity with, loads and loads of money to spend on costumes. So,
Right.
find the best price and the person who understands what I want it to look like, because we're given what they call a figurino, which is the rendering of what the costume should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And once you take it to the atelier, because most of them, they already know all the Carnivalescos, they'll get in contact with the Carnivalesco and make their own adjustments. And then you kind of talk and negotiate. Now, here's the thing. Depending on your school, depending on how many times you've been Musa, whatever the case may be, you may not get to modify your costume at all.
What?
Your costume may be exactly what that figurino looks like.
You know what? That makes sense. So, because there is, so you, there is a fly in my room. He is so annoying. Sorry, y'all. So there is like a difference between, I guess, the Musas that are of the pasistas and the Musas of like other alas. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Or
Because the Musa that, like, if you come out of the Pasista ala and you're like the Musa in front of that, you're technically like queen of the Pasistas in that regard.
yeah,
But I don't think those girls get to modify their costume, because
no, that's what it seems like.
very similar to, it has to be just an upgraded version of what the Pasistas are wearing.
Yeah, that's what I figured, because I was like, I feel like, watching like Mayara, and is it Mayara? Yes, Mayara. Marimola, not Marimola.
And
Excuse
Mari,
me.
yeah.
Mari. I feel like their costumes be matching the ala, and I'm like, oh,
That's
I was like,
but they're supposed to. They're supposed to match the ala, but you notice that their costumes are usually like, there was one year, I think it was 2019 or 2020, where they walked together and their costumes were very similar, but just slight changes. Like, their feathers were the same, but like, there were slight differences in the costumes. And that's because they had the option to modify. Whereas if you're on a float, like if you're in a kahu, the car, as they call it, you do not get to make any changes to that costume. Even if you are, I forget what they call the person who's right at the front of the float, like the central star of the float, you don't get to change the costume at all.
Wow.
Because I remember being like, this is going to look real boxy on my body. I don't have the kind of hips where you can have something sit low on my hip. You know what I mean? Like, I have to cut stuff high so that I look a little more curvy. And so that, like, and thankfully they agreed, like, to let me change that. And so that was nice. So the costume, like, everybody's like, did somebody else, can I just buy that costume? And I'm like, it was custom made for me, help, designed, like, with me and the atelier together, sitting down, going through pictures of things that I've seen that look similar. And I kind of want this element, but I want that element,
Makes sense. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get to some questions. We got a bunch of questions, as you can see. I know, right? So,
there was one thing she asked. There's one thing she asked. Yes, you do pay for it out of pocket unless you rent the costume.
Aha.
You do pay for it out of pocket.
See, child, I wouldn't have never known.
You can rent it though.
I've heard about renting.
Huh?
I've heard about renting. All right. So this question is, where did you feel the safest in Brazil?
Two places. I always feel safe in Ipanema. That's probably like if I ever move to Rio, that's probably where I'm gonna live. I love it. You can walk to the beach. I've seen arrastões go down where they go like the kids come onto the beach and like rob everybody. I've seen it. It happens. Ipanema is not immune to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Copacabana too.
Copacabana is
Oh
the
my
worst one.
goodness.
Yeah, but like it's not immune to it, but it it's I just feel like it's less frequent and I didn't feel weird walking down the street like presently I cannot get my ring off. Eventually it'll come off again, but
Oh,
I
that's
didn't feel
right.
weird about walking down the street because people are like, don't wear expensive jewelry, oh my god, and like so I for years I would be like, oh, I can't wear my ring when I go to Rio, I can't wear my ring, and then this last trip I went down and I couldn't get the thing off, and guess what, we just let it rock and it did what it did. But that's
Wow.
one place that I always feel safe. And then the other place that a lot of people disagree with me on, I feel safe in Madureira.
Madureira, yeah, at night is sketchy.
At night. But I say this, at night, if you're where the people are,
You're fine.
good. But if you go
Yeah.
off down a dark alley anywhere,
Yeah.
you might be in danger. So that's what so when I'm in
Yeah, that's true.
Madureira, if I'm walking away from the group, from like a crowd, that means I have somebody with me and we're walking to go grab an Uber or walking to go grab a cab. But like, I feel safe out there. It feels like my people.
Yeah, no, I love Madureira. Honestly, I was like, where am I gonna stay? It's always that question for me when I go to Rio. Because I did live there for some time. But I'm just like, I don't like Zona Sul. I really don't. I don't like Zona Sul. I don't like Centro.
I don't like Centro.
I hate Santa Teresa. I hate it so much.
Santa Teresa. How do you hate
Santa Teresa, Katumbi. Oh. Estacio, I do not like it over there. I don't know. It's like a dark energy over there that I just don't like. And I got most of my followers know I was robbed in Santa Teresa. But even before then, I never liked Santa Teresa.
It's hard to get in and out of there. Like that's my issue.
Yeah,
Santa Teresa. Like unless your whole life has to be in that neighborhood for Santa Teresa to make sense.
I'm lazy, man, especially coming from a samba school, 3 hours, 4 hours in Sayo, and you got to climb up a hill.
That's what those hills are crazy.
It's like
the hills are crazy.
I said, man, F this. All right, so it says, next question. It says, where to start if you are trying to be involved with Rio Carnival at all? So just where do you start?
It depends on your ultimate goal. But if you just want to be involved, there are websites where you can buy like a spot in a parade. You won't be a Musa. You won't be a Pasista. But you can just be in an ala, which is a grouping of people, and they sell those really cheap a lot of times. So you can do that. That's one way to get started. Another way to get started is to start studying and training samba.
Yeah.
Wherever you live, start studying and training in samba because eventually you'll meet somebody who has connections. And that's literally how I got my first spot. Is just meeting someone who was a Musa at a school. And I was like, I want a parade. We met you. I don't know if you remember me. She was like, yes, I remember you. Let's talk tomorrow. And when I talked to her, she had options. You want to do this? You want to do this? You want to do that?
That is true. So start practicing your samba. I agree. That's what I did. I started training here. Somebody is at the door. Y'all, we're going to take a quick break. I don't know why they at my door. I think it's my little brother. But
you want me to stay here and hold it down?
Yeah, Keisha actually has a question, y'all. So really quickly, I will be right back.
Do they have a Destacar to show too. I don't know what a Destacar is. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're asking, and I don't have access to the comments. Um, I'll say this: São Paulo's Carnival is very, very similar to Rio's Carnival. I know people who have paraded in both. That's actually it's. I would say it's probably on a smaller scale, just slightly smaller though, because people in São Paulo love their carnival as well. So I don't know what question you're trying to ask me, but if you want to parade in São Paulo, the process is about the same. Who you know, and also like the websites where you can buy your costumes. Do you know what she's asking? A destacar or destacar, destaki?
Destacar de show. No.
What's a
I'm
destacar
not
de show? The show.
honestly, I don't know. I've actually never heard of it. I haven't. I'm just like, wait, what? I have no idea. Uh could you like explain what you mean? Keisha, and we'll come right back to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next question.
Hey.
The next question is, what is a typical practice like, aka ensayo?
Um, ensayo for a Musa, I think, is very different than ensayo for a pasista. Um, you show up for a Musa, you show up fully glammed out. Um, I even like my first time going to ensayo as a Musa, I showed up in my flops. I had on, I was fully in my stuff. My makeup was done, the hair was done, face beat, but I was in the flops. And another Musa pulled me to the side and said, "No, and you're Musa. You come here in your heels." And I was like, "You don't know me," And
Oh, you
I didn't say
show
anything
up.
back.
You show up in your heels. Woo, child.
Right. Which, because sometimes in Sayu rehearsal, you're doing a lot of standing around waiting for stuff to get started sometimes. So that was like, oh man, that's gonna be a lot. Oh God. So I did that the next time, and I was glad I did, because when I got there, they were putting us in line and they're like, let's go. And basically you get to rehearsal, but like whenever the Mestre de Bateria starts the drums, it's showtime. And your director of Musas will put you where you need to go, tell you what they expect of you, point you to a photographer a lot of times, and you do your thing. And like literally, I feel like rehearsal for a Musa is like this long. It's so short. Whereas
Really?
everybody else is dancing, dancing, dancing for a long time.
Yeah, you be there forever, man. You just want it to end.
Musa's not doing that. Musa's is totally different. It's literally like for us, it just goes by so fast, because part of it is them like giving us instruction on look at that camera, you know what I mean? And like come over here and do this. And then finally like, okay, Musa, bye, 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 Musa, bye, and then you have to go and you do your little few seconds of dancing.
Right.
And then you're done. Like,
Dang.
they're still trying to figure out a lot of times where in the parade they're going to put you. What
She said it's
order?
called Destaki da show. Oh, Destaki.
I know what destaki means, but like, what is
Yeah,
destaki
but that show, I still never heard of that. It's a solo dancer that makes sure to fill in the space between the ala. I'm guessing that sounds
Musa.
like a Musa.
That sounds like Musa.
Yeah, that sounds like a Musa.
Who calls it?
At
They
least
call it destaki the show. Oh, some Paula.
I'm like, I think, oh, child, I keep getting phone calls. People don't respect the fact that I have a show to put on. I don't know what's wrong with people. But anyway, we're gonna get to the next question. Okay. The next question is, all right, ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Trying to get the right filter. All right. How well were you received by other dancers? We hear of gringas not being as welcomed.
For my school, I paraded with the same school multiple times. I was very well received at the school. I can say that Hannah Ser de Jacare Pagua was very welcoming, even though they had a million musas. They
Oh my god!
had,
I heard they had like a carousel of musas.
it was
I,
insane. Every Allah had two musas at least. It was so many. And then like the cars had like gringa musas. Like it was a lot of us. But I can't speak for any of the other girls, but I was very well received. The harmonia was always super pleasant, making jokes, like just it was always a good time had. The other musas, the Brazilian musas who were musas for other schools as
wow!
well, were always super nice and happy to pull me. Like if they were shooting a video, happy to pull me into the video for us to Ebola together for a few seconds for the camera. It was never a problem. The kids wanted to come dance with us, like it just I never had a problem with that. And that actually has been a concern of mine because this is my first year going to Vigario Geral. And I've been told that Vigario, the community is just as welcoming. So I'm looking forward
Wow!
to it. But yeah, I've heard those horror stories too, where you get there, nobody speaks to you, nobody tells you what you need to do, where you're supposed to go. I can say that Hannah Sarah actually made sure that the director of Musa spoke English. They made sure they had somebody who spoke English to direct us on everything. And he was like, don't ask nobody else nothing. I am your contact. And now, mind you, he was very direct, which I think to some people could have come across cold, you know what I mean? But for me, that's fine. Like if you don't, that I can follow instructions, so it's not a big deal for me. By the end, by the time the parade happened, we were hugging and crying and laughing, like, "Oh my God, you gonna do it again? Yes, I'm gonna do it again!" Like it was a good time. So, like, I was well received, but I have heard horror stories, and I do not want to
Yeah,
tell
I was
anybody.
about to say I've heard horror stories too, and that's interesting. Someone just text. It was Keisha that said maybe we are more well received as Black women. I'm gonna say that's cap.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, no, it doesn't matter. And for me as a pasista in the samba school, I mean, people think you're cool. Um, like, oh, cool, you're Black, but like they still see you as a gringa.
Yes. Oh, I mean that's
You know,
very true. You're not. They don't see you as part of the community, if especially if you're not down there for a long time, doing it every year
yeah,
where they know you because you're there every year.
yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But I can.
Also, as a pasista, if you Black, in my experience, you gotta work harder
Ooh.
because you work hard like everybody else. Like just like they treat you like a Brazilian. They actually don't treat you.
You get no
Um
special treatment. Let me be very clear. Like you're that's the one thing. Musas, if anything, are probably treated the worst in the school because schools
mm,
cycle through musas every year. And
yeah.
pasistas tend to like grow roots in the program that they're in the school that they're in. Musas cycle through. So they really do treat musas probably the worst because they're like, oh, you'll probably want to go to a bigger school next year. So whatever.
Yeah.
So it's, but like I said, I didn't experience anybody being nasty or dismissive. I
Oh
did get
yeah, like
kicked out of a room
nasty.
once, but they kicked everybody out of the room. So
They haven't treated me nasty. They definitely treated me like one of the like I would just say like one of the Blacks.
okay, and that has its own level, you know what I mean? But you weren't
That's
treated
another,
any
yeah, I
worse
was say
than
that's
any of the
a
other blacks.
I about to say that's a topic of another day.
That's a whole
More
other
like,
conversation.
yeah, it's not like, oh, you're an American Black. It's like, no, you're one of these Blacks over here. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, I mean, in a way, I was grateful because I got the exact experience as someone who is from Zona Norte.
Yeah.
But however, at the end of the day, it's still known that you are a gringo. All right, let's get to the next question because girl, you got so many questions. Oh my goodness. All right. How do you find lodging in Brazil? What is that clicking? I feel like there's something crackling or biting or something.
I thought it was
Anyway,
chair, but it's not.
um
I typically go through Airbnb.
Oh, she didn't finish the question. I'm sorry. I almost booked an Airbnb in a favela.
Oh, girl, no. Okay, so God, I don't want to keep us here all night, but I got a story. So we, um, you know, my first carnival was not at all my first trip going to Brazil. So by the time carnival, I started parading carnival. I already knew the ropes on like what to do, where to book, where not to book, etc. And that my first carnival, 2018, we kept seeing this apartment in the Lemmy area, listed as Lemmy, and it had this beautiful balcony that overlooked the sea. You could see the sea. It was wonderful. And of course, doing the map, just kind of zoom out, zoom out, zoom in. And I realized it's in that green area. If where you're booking is in like surrounded by green on like
that's the favela.
The color map, that's a favela. Do not book.
Yeah.
So we ended up booking in on Princess Isabel, which is like right there just south of Lemmy.
Yeah.
My homegirl sees the same apartment. We tell her, do not book that apartment. It's in a favela. She books it because she says, because it was so cheap and it was a beautiful apartment and it said 5-minute walk. Oh, I can have a 5-minute walk. Sure. Turns out it was a 5-minute walk from where the moto taxi drops you off, because there's a point where the moto taxis can't go any further.
Oh yeah, because you got to walk up a hill.
So she was like up there. So then it was like, oh, it's like 5 minutes walk from here. It was more than 5 minutes, and it was all stairs going straight up. Nobody told you to book.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, but then the really fun part, though, just as an aside, is that the apartment had feral cats.
Of course.
Just cats just walking through. The guy gave, we went with her to check out the apartment. And I was like, oh, girl, you got pets. And she was like, who got pets? It's like, you got pets. And I asked the guy, I was like, oh, do the cats live here? And he goes, sometimes.
Of course they live there. That's their house.
Right. And then next door was a rooster farm. So the roosters were crowing the entire time we were there. She ended up leaving and going to get another place to live.
I could imagine that. The favela's not for everybody.
It's not.
It's not.
It ain't for me. Because, I take so much stuff with me when I go. I'm not carrying all them bags. I need an elevator and a doorman, honey.
You said I need an elevator and a doorman. She said I'm bougie. That's what. All right. So this is another question. All right. How did you get introduced to samba and the pasista life?
I got introduced to samba because my mom's brother married a Brazilian woman, and she really didn't speak English. And I at that time didn't speak Portuguese. I spoke enough Spanish for me and her to communicate. And she started inviting me over for her little lunch parties. And she and her friends would be in the kitchen doing, as I call it, this little shuffle step. And I was like, oh, I like this song. I want to learn how to do the little shuffle step so I won't be the only one not doing it, And she taught me. And she also, I got really candid with her, like, this music you listen to, it's cute. Don't love it, but it's cute. And she kept saying, you will like Zeca Pagodinho. And I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, anything she says I'm going to like, I'm probably not going to like it. It took me years. And I finally listened to Zeca Pagodinho, and I was like, this man's music is everything. I really got to learn how to dance to this now. And I went down this rabbit hole of learning the music. And finally, I went to a Latin festival in Atlanta, and they had the women in full fantasia doing a samba show. I literally ran after them after their show and followed them to their cars because I was like, I need to learn how to do this. And that was how I started taking samba classes, because I literally stalked these women all the way to their cars.
Wow. That's amazing. I hope that inspires somebody tonight. Whoever's watching.
Don't be afraid to like ask people. Like if you want to learn how to do something, don't be afraid to ask them to like help you. Because and the reality is I only took 2 lessons with the lady that I ran after that I actually caught. And then another woman, you know how when they say like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. A
Right.
real teacher showed up after that. She just popped up and moved to Atlanta. A karaoke who had been performing her whole life was with a samba school. It was perfect. So
Facts. All right. So here's another question. Um, how was the transition to Ensayo Jihua? Streets aren't like dancing in a studio. Were you prepared?
mentally, yes, I was a bit nervous. Dancing in a studio, dancing on a stage. Let me say the dancing on an American stage. That is totally because you know it's different. I see you laughing, but you know it's different.
It is.
So like dancing, so that is totally different than dancing in Brazil. Period.
Yeah.
Totally different. So rehearsals, like classes in Brazil, you're dancing on concrete, and so it's no different after you've done a couple of classes. Dancing in the street, it feels totally natural. I just had to learn how to watch for potholes.
And
Um,
their streets are not like you marching down like a properly paved road. Like literally the
it's
worst
gravelly.
I thought the worst was just, going down the road in the main road in Bangu. But I was like, oh, when we started doing ensayo in the community, which is a real thing, if you do want to be a pasista, you will have to parade in the favela. And that is something that will happen.
Yeah.
But be prepared to break an ankle.
Yeah, the
Because
ground
like
is
seriously, like the streets in the favela are not fixed properly at all. If they are streets at all. I've lived in a favela where there were no damn streets. It was literally a dirt road.
that's what I'm talking
So
about, the
like
gravelly part. Like you just and your
it's
shoes get beat up and your feet get beat up and the girl next to
girl.
you is dancing so hard she's kicking rocks up and you getting stung on the side of your leg, all them little gravelly rocks.
I wish, I wish someone would have warned me and said, Regine, don't wear your brand new shoes to the community in Sio, because that's different.
Yeah.
Like because literally I lost my heels, both of them.
My God. Yeah, no. It's totally different. You really the like I said, once you take a few classes dancing on concrete, um the, inside Nahua, just it's fine. But like you said, the community parades where the roads are mostly like just gravelly, dirty sand. That is a whole nother experience. That's probably the hardest one to do. And
I was just about to say that is actually really hard, and it's kind of tight. It's not as open as like the street. So like that ensayo in the street is open, it's wide open because it's an actual driving street.
yeah,
But the one in the community is like you're going through alleyways.
yeah,
I'm just like, dang, like it's so tight. It's people like the vibe, and I'm not gonna lie, I love the energy and the vibe of the community when they go through. It's so different. It's completely different to the Avenida. It's completely different from when you're on an actual road in a regular street.
it's
But
totally different to the Avenida for sure. All of
yeah,
it.
both of them, both ensayos are different from the Avenida
Yeah.
because like people, the energy there is so high. It's like, as people, I just love their energy. I honestly really enjoy ensayos, period.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
like the same. And I told Edric, like, well, I told my YouTube followers too on that video that I did about the tech rehearsals, how like basically street rehearsals. I was like, and we keep saying inside you, that's street rehearsal, basically. Street rehearsal. And so that literally the community is showing their love while you're coming through, and you have no choice but to give them all your energy back because they're out there like watching with like their eye. They're just so excited to see you go by and
yeah,
along and taking pictures, and people are out there selling beverages and snacks and stuff. It's just it's so much fun. Like I
It's
love
so
it.
much fun. I honestly
I've
wish.
only ever done one inside the community dietary. Just the one in the community.
Just one?
Yeah, because like our school was at the base of the favela, and like we didn't have to go up to do it. So the main drag just past the quadra was where we would do the community rehearsal, and then for street rehearsal we would do it in Tonki, and like literally like we'd start like down the block, and once we got to the end it was like bars, and everybody would literally just disperse and go drinking like.
Right. Oh, also, for anybody watching, you don't always do ensayo jihua. That actually has a season itself. So you do ensayo inside of the quadra, and you go around in a circle in the quadra, or you go down a line and you come back, or whatever the case is. So you do the ensayo in the quadra. Like right now, I think they're still doing it inside, or did they go outside yet?
I've seen a few outside.
Okay, so they're outside. Okay.
Some schools are starting to go outside because it's not like raining really bad, or you know what I mean. They're in fall; it's not super cold, so
right. I know they start around November.
Yeah,
I think all of the schools are officially. Like,
I know
outside.
December. If you go down in December, you'll get some outdoor time.
Yeah, outdoors for sure. Yeah, nobody's doing it inside. I honestly prefer it outside because inside be hot.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know I'll be like, can we go outside?
As Musa, the inside rehearsals, when I said that rehearsal for Musa's is like really easy, the inside rehearsals are very easy for Musa. They're very like, that's easy for us. But inside Jehua, inside Comunidade, that's where we have to work because we're like literally like really like, you know, doing the parade. But when it's in the quadra, Musas don't do nothing.
Yeah. The quadra is also
really putting in work.
The quadra, believe it or not. I'm trying to think for pasistas.
I feel like it would be easier on your feet.
It's easier for us.
So it's easier for y'all too?
Yeah, it's easier. And it also goes by really fast as well. I don't think they stay indoors that long. The rehearsal in general, I think, is what, an hour or two?
It's about an hour.
Yeah,
because they want to get the whole parade done in under 90 minutes or under 75 minutes in the first place.
That's correct. So they're going by that clock. Yeah, they're going by the clock. That is correct.
It's not going to be longer than 75 minutes. So
and then certain alas break off. Like we leave at a certain time as well. I think they let us know. Harmonia lets us know when we leave and we get off and we.
But you know what's so funny is that like. When everybody's done and the bateria is still playing, like a lot of times you'll see like people like me, the Musa, I'll stick around and keep dancing because I just enjoy the energy that comes.
Yeah,
you'll see certain pasistas will stick around too, and that's when like I feel like that's when like bonds are built. You know, like oh yeah, she can dance. Oh she
not me. I used to leave.
Say it again.
I used to leave.
Well, you were living there. You had a whole life to go back to. Like when I go down, it's kind of like,
oh yeah, you're right.
Then like, okay, I'm on a semi-vacation. I'm working part-time from home. You know what I mean? Like, so this time I think it'll be a little.
Yeah, you're so right. I was like, yeah, I have a bus to catch. I have a train to catch, and it would be me and like most people that would be rushing to the train.
Yeah, because if you gotta catch a bus or a train, yeah, you have to out of there. Whereas like with me and like my girls, we would be like, we're splitting this Uber, right?
Yeah,
split this Uber all the way back to Zona Sul.
That is true. Yep. Yeah, no, that is very, very true. Cause yeah, and oh yes. I do also, again, for those that's coming in, welcome. This is Regine Bridges the Gap. My name is Regine. We are here with Dani Styles. We're going to wrap this live up soon, but we're going to get a few more questions.
I'm sorry. I'm so long-winded, y'all. I'm sorry.
No worries. Like, Keisha is like, yo, I'm loving these stories. Like, we have some more questions. But for those that are just tuning in, again, this is a necklace I am wearing. A friend of mine did make it. Her name is Negesti, House of Negesti. The link will be in the bio once this live ends. You can check her out on Instagram and all that good stuff. All right. Another thing if you want to learn more about transportation in Brazil or Rio specifically, there is a video about that. So you can definitely look at that just in case, you want to look around the city. I like to take transportation. I like to take a bike. I like to do all these different things. So just in case you also want to see the city at a slower view rather than, just, getting in an Uber or a cab or driving, you could definitely get on like Supervia, Metro, the light rail that goes through Olympia and goes to the what is it, the Dajin Samba? That thing. Yeah, so you could definitely check that out. All right, let's get to the next question. So the next question. For your first time. Trying to get the right filter. Why can't the filter just stay? All right. For your first time, did you parade with multiple schools?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Nice.
Because yes, there's no reason for why, but yes, I did parade with multiple schools.
My face in this thing, I'm just like, I was like, okay, all right, so let's get to the next question. Yes, by the way,
can I put a caveat on that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
If you're going to parade with multiple schools, consider when their actual parade dates are. Because you could do some damage to your feet trying to do 2 to 3 parades in the same day. And girls do it. But a lot of times those are girls that have a lot of experience with it.
You can do damage to your life, period. Because if you do not want to you do not want to parade 3 times in one night. Not just because you're gonna lose nerves in your feet or your feet will be numb. I think you remember I had no foot like the next day. Like my foot was so numb. My friend was like, point your foot. I said, I can't. I said, I really can't. Like, it's just, I was trying and I literally physically and mentally was trying to point and I couldn't. Not only do you lose sensation in your toes, but that Avenida is bigger than you think. It looks small on those photos.
5 football fields long.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like 5 American football fields long or something like that. It's 5 or 6 of them. It's long, y'all.
Yo,
if you're in a lineup before that, standing, waiting your turn before you can go, and then if you do it again, you got to go back around.
That's what I'm saying. You got it. So you all right? So let's say this is the Avenida right here. You start right here. You start here. You go down. You end here. You gotta get back over here, and then not only that, you gotta know what side you're on because
that was probably the hardest. That is still for me the hardest part of Carnival. What side is my school? Because the liaison folks be like, bitch, I don't know, and you like, Hannah said, scared of direita. They be like, I don't know, not my business.
Yeah, because they have a point, Cojeros, which is that thing over there, and then you have Central. So those 2 meeting points, and you just got to figure out which one you are, and you also got to figure out what float you behind. So because I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. Oh, you have rehearsal. I don't know what. I don't recognize my Allah and who was behind us that exact day. Everybody got makeup on. They look different. I'm just like, I didn't know I was in front of clowns. What the hell? Y'all wasn't wearing clowns the other day. Like what?
Exactly. They're not wearing their costumes in rehearsal. So you don't know. You get there, everybody looks totally different. It's pitch black outside with a couple of street lights shining on you. You really don't know where, like, who's who. So
it's like, yeah, that's surprise, shorty. Your float is a mermaid. You didn't know? Like what? No, nobody knows. Like literally the day of, no one knows that their float is the statue of Nelson Mandela. Like nobody knew that. Nobody. I don't care what no one says. Not even your director knows.
I knew that I, like, when I did the car, I knew that I was in Indio, And
right.
I knew that like there was going to be an alligator. Turns out my school had multiple alligators in the parade. So what I thought was my car, they were like, that's not your spot. That's not your spot at all.
Like,
you're way back there. And I was like, oh.
Like the easiest thing is if somebody says you're behind the Baianos. Okay. That's so easy.
Yes,
their costume
like
is the same.
You know where you gotta go.
But if you in between two abrealas, you got clowns and alligators. I was like, yo, y'all wasn't wearing that at ensayo. I didn't see that. I didn't know that that's where we were. So again, you doing 3 parades, 2, just 2.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You ruining your life. You just ruining everything.
I would say schedule it so that they're on different days.
And I know somebody probably thinking, oh, I could just get like a moto taxi or a cab. Everything is blocked off. That's the only way you get anywhere is by foot.
See, I have a whole nother story, but I feel like I'm making this live like 100 years long.
We gotta do a part 2. Y'all, if you want Dani back for a part 2, comment. We're gonna get to one more question because we do have to end this. Yes, this is the last question. Perfect. The last question is, and if you can't answer it, it's all right, don't worry. The last question is, what is the original reason for Brazil Carnival?
It is very similar to Carnivale and Mardi Gras. So it is literally the celebration where you basically get the debauchery out of your system before Lent.
Lent, yeah.
So Carnival technically ends on Fat Tuesday.
Yep.
And then on Ash Wednesday, everybody gets their ashes. That is the beginning of the Lent season where you give up something. So it's really just like, we know this season of deprivation is coming. So we're about to get this partying out of our system. That's literally like the crux of it. So that was a Catholic celebration before in Europe. And it evolved in Brazil because I would say the whites, the ruling class, was having their celebration. And so the Africans and the natives, the indigenous people would start having their own celebration.
Right.
And they realized, oh shit, their parties are way more fun than ours.
And that's another thing.
So they started incorporating everybody.
Yeah.
They could also be a part of the fun stuff that the Africans and the natives were doing. And that's how you get this amalgamation of what we have now.
And y'all, be prepared because I do have more lives coming up where I definitely want to divest into what it's like for a Black person during Carnival in Brazil, because a lot of people think that Carnival is just Carnival, but like it's definitely a lot of differences for people who are not only just Black but poor, because you know what we do in Carnival is expensive. Mm-hmm. The day of, it's expensive, and we're just lucky because we have USD. Because honestly, Dani, if you and I was making ice, we wouldn't be doing. You wouldn't be a Musa. You'd be in my ala.
I'll be in a pasista ala somewhere. That was how I get my samba in. I would be in somebody's pasista ala. And the reality is that like even like not even just participating in it being expensive, but the reality is that tickets to the show
is expensive.
The poorest people out. So that's why like the tech rehearsals and the street rehearsals are so amazing, because they're free events that the community can come to for free.
Exactly.
So it's sad that like it's this amazing celebration made up of people who are working class folk, and they don't even get to enjoy watching it.
And they live in the community. They live in these communities because like a lot of people don't know, but a lot of the samba schools like Salgueiro is an actual favela. Tuiuchi is an actual favela.
Yeah.
And Rio Serrano is Serrinha. Yeah. And Mangueira is a favela. Unidos Padre Miguel, Vila Vintém, Mocidade, Vila Vintém. So like a lot of these samba schools are communities. Rocinha, that is a favela.
Yeah.
Jacarepaguá, Renacer, that is a favela. And these are schools that are really big. Portela, Madureira, same thing.
Yeah.
Madureira is not a favela, but
no, and Portela's not in the favela, but it is
not
favela adjacent.
Exactly. Exactly. Just like because in Pedro's not in the favela.
No, they're right around the corner.
Sehia. Yeah. Sehia is like right there. But however, these are these people's school. Imagine there was a band representing Brooklyn, a band that represents like Atlanta, you know, like Buckhead, like, and you can't go.
You can't even, you could be a part of it in some small way, but you couldn't go see the show. You couldn't afford to go see the show. That I'm pretty sure would be just slightly infuriating.
And I know that they're like, oh,
bro, this hair,
you know, like you want to show your pride. You want to show, you know, I want to go, you know, like, but you can't. The most you could do is wear your school shirt to a bloco and drink some nasty skull.
Not the skull beats. Don't come for the skull beats. You know how they go hard. It's so nasty. It is so nasty.
Skull is literally, skull is like, y'all, if you're gonna do carnival, you're gonna have a skull. You're gonna have a skull. I do
it ironically. I'd be like, let me go and get that skull beats. Let me go ahead and get that. Like,
it's a carnival drink. Like, you're gonna drink it. It's literally like you drinking Four Loko. But like,
it is like
it's disgusting. One of my friends had me try this one with menthol in it. Mint.
That's the skull beats. That's what I'm talking about. Skull beats is the one that has the menthol-y flavor. And it's almost like beer and Red Bull together.
And
with
Benadryl.
Menthol. And people live, girl, they'd be like, yes, skull beats.
And I don't know what type of crack is in there. Excuse me if any students are watching, but that thing will get you intoxicated for some reason. I have no idea. And it be tasting like swamp water. But
I told you, it tastes like beer and Red Bull mixed with like somebody put some like menthol, like Vicks Vapor Rub.
I was about to say cough medicine. Like, it is so disgusting. But yeah, no, that's what, you know, your average person that lives in the community will do. They just go ahead and wear their school shirt and go to a block room.
Yep.
Like yeah.
Oh
well,
God,
Dani,
so many. I have like I have so many stories for Carnival. Like when you talk about walking back, I was like, girl, if you ain't heard my story about that,
I got a story too, girl. I almost went blind, but that was. We definitely got to do a horror story carnival live.
Yes.
We'll get the whole gang on here. Everybody will be on here. One story each. And it's just
that'll be my story. The walk back story will be mine because that was horrifying.
Everyone, please give Dani a follow on Instagram. She is also on YouTube. She is also on TikTok. You know, Twitter, I believe. Yep. So everybody, please give her a follow, and she will be back. Don't worry. I promise to do a lot more lives with a lot of people that's doing carnival and all that other stuff because this is the first year back since our hiatus.
40
of
days.
The pandemic.
40
it's 40 days. What?
Carnival is going to be 40 days of debauchery down there this year in 2022. 40. It's going to be nuts.
Did you get your ticket? Did you get your flight yet?
I got my flight. I got somewhere to live for a little while. I don't know what I'm gonna do after that. I got
Wait, you don't got your flight?
But I got my flight.
I don't got mine. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on, girl, you better get it together while these prices are so good. So anybody that wants to go down, this is the time to get it. Prices look real good right now.
I'm gonna do Afterpay. So
listen,
I'm gonna do Afterpay. I'm gonna do
Afterpay on where I'm gonna live the next, because like that second half of that trip, I ain't got nowhere to live. The second half of the trip,
I'm gonna do Afterpay. I think I'm gonna probably go the end of December, to be honest.
Ooh, so you'll be down there when I get down there then, because I don't get down there in January. So.
Oh, you was gonna get there in January?
Yeah, that's when I get there in January, and then I'll come back home sometime in March. Sometime.
Oh yeah, I'm not coming back home in March. Because I'm gonna go to the Ivory Coast just in case everybody don't know.
Yes.
So please stay aware and donate to the project Regine Bridges the Gap. I still definitely document Black dances. They are all over my TikTok. I have a series going on where I talk about African American culture. So definitely go in there and follow and like everyone. Please follow Dani. And Dani, thank you so much. They want you back. Everybody wants you back. So you'll be back. And we'll definitely have our carnival horror story live.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I can't wait to tell y'all. Because y'all gonna be like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to do this no more. That's what happens. I don't know if I want to do that no more. So yeah. But just I can't wait to tell you because now I know what to do. But I'm telling you, that first year when I didn't have no information, woo, tears in the street.
First years, first times are usually rough.
Yeah. They are.
All right, everyone. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Make sure you follow, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to have Jordan from Sao Paulo. Completely different topic. It's not carnival. We're going to be talking about rap.
But he is very entertaining.
He is. It's going to be interesting. So, bye-bye, everyone. Take care.